when the world loses confidence in the dollar, then they're not going to be willing to sell any of their goods for dollars. So it's really kind of two different answers depending upon whether we're looking at just purchasing power here or taking a broader look globally, the dollar against those other currencies. Because it's, regardless, it's all a race to zero because it's all on a debt-based system. And I can see a time, I definitely do see a time, where you'll have the dollar will just be a local currency, not a global currency anymore. I mean, I remember going to France, and this would have been like in the 90s, and that they preferred to get paid in dollars rather than francs at that point. It was the early 90s, so it was before the euro, and they wanted to get paid in dollars. Would they want to get paid in dollars today? No, they don't want to get paid in dollars. So there's two different ways to answer that. Either way, the dollar's value globally and locally is headed toward zero. Even though they'll come out with a new currency and it'll still be called a dollar, the digital dollar. But the dollar, the debt-based dollar that we have right now is 100%. It's headed toward zero and very close to that. I don't personally hold a lot of debt, and I could pay my mortgage off. I mean, it's small enough, I could pay it off, but I don't do that. Instead, the money that I would have used to pay that off, I've simply, as you know, put into gold. Mm-hmm. So when that reset happens, that overnight reset happens, and you see gold go up, then there's going to be a window where you're going to capture some of those gains and pay off that debt. So you just have to be paying attention, but you've got to have gold for, especially when you're talking, variable rate debt you want to get rid of, I'm going to tell you. You want to get rid of that and get rid of it now because we see what's now happening with interest rates. Mm-hmm. But fixed rate debt, why not pay it back with cheaper dollars? And there's no doubt about it. I mean, we just did a recalculation of the fundamental value of gold, a month or so ago? It's not necessary to do it constantly. But it was 13,500 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And spot is at like 1,900 and something. You can do the math. The whole world has agreed that this is money because it meets all the criteria to be a good money. So demonetize, no, they already tried that. Has it worked? No. Why are they accumulating it? Because it's money. Because it's good money. It's hard money. It's savings-based money. In my personal strategy, where I thought that I would convert, a chunk of it once there was a component of gold in the new currency, I'm not planning on doing that anymore because I'm not willing to give them that much control. Mm-hmm. So, I might do as much as I need on a monthly or quarterly basis or something like that. But because I don't want to give them total control. And the way to keep a level of control is to have real money outside of the system and then just put it into the system as you need it if you have no choice. So, yeah, you're not going to have, once they put the CBDCs in place, that will not fix the problem. Let me be really, really clear on that, because they aren't going to change behavior until they're forced to. And the only thing that's going to force them to change behavior is the loss of confidence of the public. Public says, I'm not using that currency anymore. I don't want to take it anymore. That's why you see them in Venezuela using gold and Zimbabwe using gold, using anything other than the local currency because they don't trust it. To be perfectly honest with you, the lion's share of my personal holdings is definitely gold. But silver is the secondary monetary metal. And for me, I think it's absolutely perfect as a universal tool of barter. Plus, it's easy to get them in different sizes, etc. So I don't stack platinum or palladium. I mean, I do own some platinum, but I definitely don't stack it. I just stack gold and silver. Russia creating a petro ruble or a gas ruble, however you want, a commodity ruble. But the other thing that they're doing is putting a floor underneath the price of gold. So they're doing two key pieces. Now, the US dollar officially in terms of purchasing power is already at 3 cents, and with this rapid inflation approaching that 0 point very, very quickly. But it really is all based on confidence. So how long before the US dollar goes to zero? Well, we're pretty close to that now, and I can't give you a specific date because, again, it's just based on the confidence that the world has in the dollar. But there are a lot of things that are happening that would definitely indicate that the U.S. is losing its position as the world reserve currency so soon. That's the best date that I can give you. I don't know exactly when. Anybody that's holding dollar assets can make that deposit into that substitution fund, and then those would be converted to SDR, special drawing rights, which is the currency of the IMF. Now, the consequences of the precious metals are huge because right now, as long as people have maintained confidence in their currencies, whether it's the dollar, the euro, the yen, depends on where you live. But as long as people maintain confidence in the currencies, then it benefits governments and central banks to suppress the visible price that you see in gold and silver, because a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. But when that confidence is lost and they have to regain that confidence, that's when you will see the gold and silver, but mostly gold because that's what they reset a currency against, go to that fundamental value. So the consequences is much higher from here. You know, right now when you watch on TV, like you may have noticed that the ruble lost a lot of value against the US dollar, and now it's back to pretty much where it was. So that's one measurement, and that is frankly typically the only measurement that they ever talk about on CNBC and Bloomberg and the newspapers and all of that. So it's just one currency that's purchasing power is headed to zero against another currency whose purchasing power is headed to zero. I'm pretty darn sure that if we had the ability to talk to just a normal average Russian citizen that's living there right now, they didn't suddenly magically have the ability to purchase more goods just because the ruble to the dollar is back to where it was beforehand.